Hello, my dear students. Hope you all are doing good and taking good care of yourself in this lockdown. Children, this recent situation is very dangerous. Take ample care of yourself. Tell your parents to take most care of themselves and stay healthy. Children, don't become lazy this lockdown, but you should develop some hobby, some passion, okay? And be active and participate in our lectures and ask your doubts, okay? I am Miss Sophia Sheikh, a science teacher, and here we meet again for a new session. Yes, children, we will be revising a topic by topic here, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, I'll be flashing my ID on the screen, so make sure you ask. So, without delaying, let's get started. So, children, here is a chapter that is methods. This is the topic that is methods of separating mixtures. Can you guess this is from which lesson? Yes, children, it is from the lesson number 5, that is separation of substances. I know this thing is little bit confusing and the concept is not yet clear. So, I will be explaining this methods again in detail today. Okay. So, let us start with a topic that is methods of separating mixtures. Children, while separating mixtures, we have basically 3 categories or the 3 criteria or the 3 types of methods that we follow. For our simplification of our simple understanding of the concept, I have made this flow chart. You can refer to it. See the solids. First of all, how the criteria, how different methods can be used to separate mixtures depending upon the nature of desirable and undesirable constituents. So, why do we need to separate them? Because sometimes we obtain useful materials. We already saw the reasons of separation, that is to obtain useful constituents, to remove the undesirable constituents, and to sometimes to obtain pure substances also. Okay. So, that was the reason that I will be mentioning the link in the description of the video, the previous video, that you will need to prefer. Okay. So, to separate constituents of a mixture, a property of one of the constituents which the mixture does not have is used. For example, the properties are used. For example, if the substance has magnetic property or it is soluble, whether it is insoluble. So, this like this the criteria is follows, and based on that we have 3 conditions where we follow or separate the mixtures. First one is solids from solids. We know the states of matter. What are they? Basic steps. Basic states, that are solid, liquid and gas. So, based on that we have 3 things that we do. We separate solid from solids, we will be separating solid from liquids and liquid from liquids. So, in a mixture, what you need, a mixture is, what is a mixture? It is a mixture of a substance which has one or more constituents or molecules or compounds in it, is called a mixture. So, when 2 solids mixed with each other, what will be the, okay, I will give you the example of the mixture where solids is mixed with the solid. For example, when you mix sugar and salt, okay, where you mix grain and the stones present, small stones that are present in it. It is the mixture of solid from solid. Now, when you have grain and you need to clean it, the impurities, the solid impurities that you have, can you consume it? No. So, there is a need to remove it. So, that is why it is the example we need. Then we follow the method of separating solid from solid. Then we have solid from liquid, where the solid is dissolved in liquids. There are two conditions where the solid is dissolved in the liquid, that is soluble solid and insoluble solid. Soluble solid is the one which will make a solution with the liquid, but the insoluble one is it won't make and it will get separated and sedimented. Like this the processes are there. Okay. Now, liquids from liquids like oil and water are two liquids and they are immiscible, that is they do not mix with each other, whereas milk and water are the miscible liquids that completely mix with each other. So, we need to separate them. So, what are the methods that are followed, that we will be studying one by one. Okay. First one is solids from solids. We have threshing. This method that we have under this separating solid in a mixture of two more solids, the properties which can be used to separate are weight, size, shape, color, etc. So, the common methods of this type are threshing, winnowing, hand picking and sieving. Let us see one by one what are these methods. First, we have threshing. Yes children, threshing. What is threshing? It is the process of separating wheat grains from the stalks after harvesting the crop. So, once the crop is harvested, that is like this, you can see in the first picture, it is done either by manually or either by machines. You get a machine where you put the grain along with the stalk in that. See, you can see here in the second picture, and from the other side of the machine the grain and the stalk, that is unwanted part, is removed, whereas manually when it is done, the people take it and they hit it on that hard substance, you can see on a stone or something, so that the grain and the stalk gets separated through the force that they beat it up with. Okay. So, it is done by using mechanical threshers, that is called mechanical thresher. Okay. The next type method is winnowing. Winnowing method is based on the principle of components of mixture in light weight will be blown away by the wind. It is the process of separating grain from the chaff. It is as I told you the principle. What happens here is threshed grain, the previous one we saw threshing, the threshed grain again has some of the impurities where something must be remaining. Yes. So, it is allowed to fall from a height. You can see the people there have took the grain in some plates or something and they are throwing it on the ground, right. So, in this method you need to consider the direction of the wind where it is blowing. So, you stand opposite to it and throw the graph. The lighter chaff is blown away with the wind while the heavier grains will fall straight on the ground. Like this, the cover or the chaff or the unwanted material is separated from the grain with the help of process after threshing called winnowing with the help of wind. Okay. Then we have hand picking. What is this method? Removing undesirable substance from a mixture by picking them up and separating them from the mix is called hand picking. This method is usually used when the substance is used to separate differs on the basis of, what are the basis? I have displayed it on the screen: size, shape and color. Like for example, your mother takes the grain or the wheat before cooking it. What she does it, she checks whether there are some stones or something present. So, this is the example. It is a method like hand picking is used to separate stones from grains, and also not only in your house, it is practiced on the industrial level too, where diamond is removed from the coal in the mines. Okay. So, With other examples are your mother cleaning the grains named wheat, grain or rice. Like this, the grains are clean. So, this is done by using the process of hand picking. The main thing you need to remember in this process is it is done in a small quantity. Your mother can't go down or a warehouse and sacks and sacks of grains. No, you need a small quantity to pick it by hand, and it is a time consuming method too, and it requires a lot of energy. The next method that we have is sieving. What is the sieve first of all? Sieving is a method used to separate mixtures with the help of a sieve. First, what is a sieve then? A plate with many holes or gauze of a specific size. The size of a sieve depends on the size of the particles to be separated. So, that process is called sieving. Now, this sieve can be used. Have you seen your mother cooking chapati? She uses the sieve to remove the flour and remove the chaff, right? And also the sieve which we use to separate tea leaves while preparing tea. Okay, that is example of sieve in your house where you see. Observe your mother today and note down your observations and let me know in the comment box, or also you can make it a note of it in your science notebook somewhere and upload a picture of it on your drive. Okay. So, it is done on the industrial basis. Have you ever visited a construction site? Yes, there they use this one. The second picture that shows the man is putting cement and dust on that, and they get smaller particles to plaster the walls. Yes. So, this is also the process of sieving where it is used. This method is used when the mixture has substances of different sizes. So, we just sieve it to get the smaller and the larger particles. Okay. Then we have separating solids from liquids. Now, we saw what were the solids from solids. Now, let us see solid from liquids. So, the processes, the first type we will see where soluble solids are dissolved in liquids is evaporation and distillation. Condensation is also an example. Let us see them one by one. What is distillation? It is the process of separating two or more liquids. So, this method of separating is two miscible liquids, like for example, milk and water. They will have different boiling points, right? So, the basic principle where followed is here is the boiling point of the liquid is considered, and water has a different boiling point, oil has a different boiling point. So, like this, when the boiling point, both the liquids are boiled, and when the point reaches, they are separated using a special type of apparatus called the Liebig's condenser. Yes, the Liebig's condenser, we will be performing this in lab as well. That time you will come to know what is the Liebig's condenser. Here you see the picture of the condenser, that is invented by the scientist called Liebig. So, it is named after him. Okay. So, this was the process of distillation. Fractional distillation is the same, where in distillation only two liquids were taken, but here it is separating one liquid from a mixture of different liquids having different points. So, this is at the larger level, and it is difficult level of simple distillation. The previous one was simple distillation where two liquids are used, where here this is fractional where many liquids are used, and they all have different boiling points. Next we have is solids from liquids. So, we saw the insoluble solids and the processes that we follow here are solids from in solids while separating solids from liquids are sedimentation, desandation, filtration, loading and centrifugation. Children, insoluble solids do not dissolve in liquid and can be separated by liquid like following these processes. So, let us see one by one what are these processes and what is done exactly in them. First one is sedimentation and the second one to decantation. Both these processes are just simultaneously present one after the other. Okay, once you get sediment, you can perform the decantation process. Let me tell you what happens in sedimentation. Sedimentation is the process of settling down of an insoluble solid in a liquid of the bottom of the container. Okay, so at the bottom the sediments get settled, so that is why it is called sedimentation, and the layers are formed. Like when you mix sand or mud in the water, as you can see here in the picture, the sand will go down and settle, that is called settling. Whereas decantation is separating out that clear layer of water or the top liquid carefully, so that the sediments do not come along with it, is the process of decantation. So, sedimentation, once the liquids or the solid gets settled, liquid is removed with the help of decantation. So, that is sedimentation and decantation are the processes for insoluble solids. Then we also have the next process, that is called filtration. This is the process where liquid is passed through a filter paper that is there in your laboratory. As you can see here in the picture, if you have a mixture of sand and water, you filter it. You make the solution is filtered, and whatever the sand is collected as the residue in the filter paper. This process, filtration, is seen in a house when we filter the tea leaves from a sieve and we drink the liquid, that is tea or maybe something else. So, this is called filtration. Then we have loading. What is loading? Sometimes the insoluble particles in a liquid are very fine and they cannot be removed by decantation. So, the particles can be made heavier so that they sediment quickly. How are they made heavier? The fine particles are made heavier using alum. So, as you can see here in the picture, alum is added so that the fine particles, due to which they form a sediment. It will mix with mud and the finest particle will become heavy and they will settle down. That is why the same process is used while filtering the rainwater and the purification of water too. So, the alum is mixed and we get two separate layers and decantation is followed. This was loading process. Then we have centrifugation. Children, the method of separating lighter and heavy particles from the liquid mixture by rotating the liquid in the machine is called centrifugation. Centrifugation the word has come from the force, centrifugal force or the circular motion. As the liquids are separated with the help of centrifuge, that is circulating machine, what happens to that is, this method is used to separate blood or centrifuge blood. Also, this process is also used to obtain curd or cream from the milk. So, cream is lighter, it will get separated, and while doing the blood test, it is done to test the groups, various blood groups present. Okay? So, this was the process of centrifugation. Now, we have liquids from liquids. This is a simple method where miscible liquids are separated by distillation that we saw it earlier, the simple distillation, the fractional distillation, whereas here the mixture of alcohol and water is prepared and the two layers can be separated. As you can see here, this is a separating funnel. This apparatus is called separating funnel. So, for example, if you take water and oil, automatically they have two layers. So, once there is a nozzle present or the opening is present at the bottom, you open the nozzle, you obtain the water and close it as the layers goes down, and you can obtain two different separate liquids in two different beakers. So, here we end up with a chapter. Children, you all know my email ID and hope you have understood the video. Make sure if you have any doubt, comment and ask, email me. Make sure you are marking your attendance, and this was all for today. Thank you. Goodbye.